Hello, viewers.
Yo.
Hi, it's James and Mike. We are back
Hey.
with another podcast about Jurassic World Rebirth. There's something I want to discuss quickly. That I was listening to the Jurassic Park podcast. Brad was chatting with Tom. They occasionally do a little catch up and a Rebirth update.
Yeah.
And there's something that Tom mentioned to do with Zara. Now, Zara, obviously, Scarlett Johansson's new character, Zara, her surname is Bennett, Zara Bennett. And he noticed that when Ellie goes to the farm at the start of the movie, let's put that there. She actually says about whose land is that, and she says it's the Bennetts. Let's see if we can hear this.
Okay.
No, they don't. So, I think she says no. They have right. So Blue and Beta. Now, I've been thinking about Blue and Beta for a little while now because the main important thing for me is that when Mike's back. Here you go. Hold on. Didn't realise Mike was back then.
Yeah, it's all right.
Just about to start. Threw me off then. Threw me off. Now I've been thinking about Blue and Beta for a while because Blue is the main. You know, she's one of the most important characters in the franchise, isn't she? Really?
Yeah.
And first, I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw the question to you. Do you want anything to do with Blue and Beta in this movie? And if not, why? And if you do, why?
Yes and no, but not so much Blue, more Beta. And the reason being, I don't want it to be a straight cameo. I don't want it to be literally a case of they turn a corner and Beta's there and they have to do a whole chase sequence or whatever. But it would be nice to see that they're in a location where Beta's currently inhabiting and they see Beta either in the distance or during a hunt, but nothing to do with the interaction with the actual group. That would be my ideal nod to the previous generation of velociraptors. Blue at this point, I would rather be either so old that she can't hunt or she's already been killed through combat with another dinosaur. I doubt she died due to old age. That nature of animal just doesn't work like that. It's like lions in the Sahara Desert. It's like they will hunt for a while, but then the moment they start getting overpowered, they just get wiped out. They don't die of old age, and if they do, they're very, very lucky.
I don't think she's that old, to be fair.
I don't think she's that old, and that's why I would rather be killed off screen from a hunt rather than being that she's just so old. Because the other thing we don't know with Blue is whether she's affected by the growth hormones.
Well, you mean Beta or Blue?
No,
in what way? In what way?
With Blue. Well, in the sense of because she's one of the last clutches from InGen, we don't know whether she's still affected by the growth hormones and the fact that you get rapid aging and supersizes, like they had in some of the Fallen Kingdom dinosaurs that we didn't get to see. But because Beta's a clone of a genetic sense rather than a biological sense rather than genetic sense, do those traits that have been engineered into Blue get carried over, or do those kind of get subsided by what we actually have from the genes that she grew up with, that she's not inherited, but she's developed from growing up in certain surroundings?
See, for me, I'm just purely from a movie perspective point of view. I couldn't care less if we don't see Blue or Beta in this film.
Yeah.
I'm ready to detach myself from anything. Anything from the previous 6 films.
Yeah.
The very most I want is a mention of either biasing or of any particular character. I want to mention. I don't even think I want a cameo. I just want a brand new direction, brand new everything.
Yeah.
So it has enough in it to feel like it belongs exactly the next film, but something that's so uniquely put together that's a start, a middle, and an end that doesn't require you to watch 6 movies before it.
Yeah.
Which is what I think we spoke about this last time, which is what I think Jurassic World did so well, is that you didn't have to watch 1, 2, and 3 to watch Jurassic 4 for it to completely make sense, because the slogan of the movie was "The park is open."
Yeah.
So, if you're new to it, then you might think, "Oh, was the park closed before?" Then you can obviously go back, but they emphasise the park being open. There's only a bit of dialogue, like Claire would say, "Park's in poor taste. Take that shirt off," sort of thing.
Yeah,
he says in the shirt. So for me, I don't really want Blue and Beta in this film. Now, I do believe, I do think that Blue is the type of animal that's intelligent enough to survive, because in nature, survival of the fittest is normally the animals that are most adaptable to climatize, the ones that are intelligent enough to migrate to areas. And if she's supposed to be the most intelligent life form on the planet that's obviously not human, then surely nature hasn't claimed her. Surely she's survived and she's moved to an equatorial region, and migrated south. Because when you think about it, how she was very, very far north in America. Yeah. Wasn't she? Like her and me.
Was it like Alaska or something? They were.
I don't even think it was as far. I don't think it was quite as far. Someone in the chat might know. Well, the whole 8 of them might know. Might want to comment saying where Chris Pratt and Bryce and that were meant to be in that. It might be in Alaska. I don't know whether it was high up as that.
Yeah,
but it's pretty bloody cold, weren't it? Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I actually found it quite strange that they did choose to live there. I guess it was to be out of the way and be out in hiding. I guess away from, miles away from everything. I suppose you're more likely to stay safe, aren't you? So for me, I think Blue and Beta are around, but I don't want to see them in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the missions could be that Zara has to go and find Beta or Blue, because she holds the cure, the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Or there is a final piece of the puzzle that is Blue or Beta that that stops them from completing what they need to complete in this movie, which then before there leads to another. I've just got a comment here from Chris, which is, I'll get to yours, Jurassic Horror, in a second. I am on the side of I don't need or want to see Blue and Beta in it at all. Chris, would you mind sharing your thoughts why? And I will read it out. Just a quick, let's read this. Jurassic Horror has commented saying that their rankings of dino movies is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a 10 out of 10 and Jurassic Park is a 10 out of 10. King Kong 2005 is a 10 out of 10. Journey 1, is that Journey to the Center of the Earth? Rock 1,
no.
10 out of 10. Guanji, 10 out of 10. Dinosaur, a 10 out of 10. What's LBT? Land Before Time.
Land Before Time.
Ice Age 3, 10 out of 10. 65, a 9 out of 10. The Meg 2, 8 out of 10. I couldn't even get through half an hour of that film, so it's definitely not an 8 out of 10. Jurassic World Dominion, 4.8 out of 10. I wouldn't rate it. I wouldn't rate it that lowly, but it is funny. Fair dues. Owen and Claire. Chris says Owen and Claire's cabin was in Nevada. Okay.
Oh right. Okay.
You must have Googled it. He didn't know that. He ain't that smart. But for me, I think with regarding Blue and Beta, I do think the movie doesn't need it because I feel like from what we know so far, with regarding the plot, I don't think it necessarily needs them to carry the film.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
When you go back to the original, the middle three, the World trilogy, you know, when you think about when you watch Jurassic World, it's not until the final act that I think Blue necessarily stands out to being any different to the others.
Yeah.
And then they have that little moment that she comes back, doesn't she, from the dead? And helps Owen and the cast members. So I do think that, you know, it works for the trilogy because I knew as soon as that finished and Blue scarpered off into somewhere else, like if they're going to do a story of number 2, they're likely to tread on where Blue is because they left it hanging a little bit too importantly. And it just made sense that they were going to do something with her. And then obviously it dives into how intelligent and her DNA is so good and stuff like that. So that makes sense. So did they use her to do the Indoraptor?
I think they were planning on using her for the upbringing of the next Indoraptor.
Because I know they tried to tamper with her DNA, but didn't that girl? So
they were looking for the maternal nurturing side of it, which Blue was able to offer. Because on the previous examples that they had that brought up the Indoraptor before, it was too aggressive and it couldn't associate itself with anything like the Indominus did. So they wanted her for the nurturing side of it. So they wanted her DNA to implant into the next version of the Indoraptor, so that it was a more, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? The chat will know what I'm thinking of, but yeah, it makes it less aggressive, basically.
Yeah. No, I think. No, I think you're probably spot on there. Really, to be fair, Chris has just put a comment on here that makes me think. Yeah, it's probably right. Keeping them in for the toys and the merch, the toys and merch is a big selling point for these movies, especially particularly with kids the ages of between 6 and 9, 10.
Yeah.
They're probably still that age that would buy toys to either display or fight with.
Yeah.
So Blue is quite cool, like for a kid's sort of imagination.
Yeah.
Like you got to remember that we grew up with the horror aspect of Jurassic, whereas they've grown up with the cool aspect of Jurassic, which is a very different thing. Like Alan Grant and Chris and Owen Grady are very, very different people.
Yeah.
Like the main hero of our movie was a paleontologist. The main hero of their movie was a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
So they're very, very different.
But his toy wasn't as cool as the toy we got for Alan Grant. I mean, he's had a motorbike. Alan Grant had a launching net launcher and a baby pteranodon.
Yeah, but the real life character was just a man.
Yeah.
Just a man that wore a big hat
and a fossil claw in his pocket.
And a denim shirt. There was no, he learned how to be a father figure on the on the journey. You know, whereas Owen was, you know, I love Owen's character. I think he's great.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've grown up. These kids with today's films have grown up with a different style of, I guess, focus point.
Yeah.
Like Alan Grant was, you know, made me want to be a paleontologist.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up. Now, I don't know what Owen would make me want to be other than someone that trains raptors.
Yeah.
Or trains animals. Or I don't know, like an animal behaviorist. Like,
Yeah.
I guess you could go that route with, you know, what you'd want in, like, as a role model, you know, what you'd want him to
So
do. Like, his job is cool.
If it was me as a kid now, I'd probably be looking at something like Animal Trainer specifically. But if you wanted to go down the Navy SEAL route, then you're probably looking at animal trainers for military and police work, so things like dog trainers.
Yeah,
that side
definitely.
of it.
Yeah. So Chris was saying also, because he's anyway in the chat talking. So Chris again. I don't want Blue and Beta, as I want us to move on from this story and give other dinos a storyline or appearances. Also, I think they have done everything in Blue, with Blue in particular.
Yeah, I agree.
And then he says, the only way I would want to see them was a cameo at the end if they ended it like The Lost World with them free and happy somewhere. Life will find a way. One of those moments. Yeah, I'm happy with one of those moments.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, like I say, it's like, to me, they don't need to be a core thread in whatever the new story is for Rebirth. Don't mind a cameo, don't mind a mention. I just don't want it to be a case of they just appear and then that's it. They're just there for the whole movie after that point. It's not needed. We don't need them. I mean, we've already seen kind of like what that did with the Rex from the original Jurassic Park, where it just then becomes a character, and you do it to death to the point where it's like, right, okay, can we just retire these characters now and have something new? Because as much as that, like, I agree with everyone in the sense of keep them for the toys, because we've got toys of dinosaurs that either never appeared on screen or haven't been appeared on screen since their initial cinematic release from the original Park trilogy. So we don't need them to be in the film to have toys. But yeah, I don't think they should be like a major part in any shape or form.
No, but I think the thing, as soon as you've seen Blue, Owen's not going to be far behind. So
yeah, probably will be, won't it?
So I just think a mention might be worth it. A mention in dialogue, because obviously Blue, we have had 3 movies of this animal being of very, very, very like high importance. And I also, do you know what? Another thing I think this is from listening to so many Blue In podcasts. So I've got this drummed into my head, these ideas. I can't believe Wu has finished and got his redemption. There's got to be something where Wu's, you know, got his little finger in a pie somewhere.
I hope so. I mean,
especially with this whole this secret that's been hidden for decades. He's got to have had some sort of input, even if it's like something he did years ago, and then you know, they've just scrapped the idea and moved on from it, and then it's just all of a sudden resurfaced and reappeared, and now he's got to deal with that. Like, he's the only one that can. I would be up for a little cameo of him, actually.
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely. If there's someone to set these missions into action, it feels like this would be something that Wu would set up to either right the wrongs of what he's done, or to counteract something that someone else has gotten from his earlier work and adapted it and made it more of a threat to humanity. I mean, considering that we saw his arc in Dominion go from evil mad scientist that wants to make dinosaurs however the hell he wants to, right, I'm going to save the world now because I've realized how how much of a bad thing I've done, it would make sense now that anything that he's done previously, it's like, right, well, Dr. Claw's got all of my DNA records for making another Scorpius Rex, and we can't have that, so we need the DNA from these 3 dinosaurs to stop it from going wrong. That's what it feels like.
Wu finds an old, is that we finds or Wu finds an old vial of Jurassic Park raptor DNA in his fridge at home. So, look, I think this discussion is always going to be like they could be anywhere. I believe that they're not dead. I don't think they're part of the extinct animals. Like, I mean, I think the best for the movie. I think the best thing that they should do is write them out and to say that, they discovered her and they need to sort of destroy the remains, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Because if they clone her from her remains, then we've got a whole new different situation on our hands. I mean, I don't know, or that's just an example, but they could, if they write her out, then it's almost like a closure on the old trilogy.
Yeah.
But by leaving it open, I mean, there's a possibility that she would survive. Now, I think realistically, she would survive based on the way her dinosaur characteristics have been written. She should survive. She and so should Beta. Beta will now also be an adult raptor because it'll be 5. So we've got 2 raptors that could possibly both reproduce again, almost having a pack of blues, their own hierarchy. I don't know. Realistically, I think they would survive and they would migrate to an equator. So, there's room for her to have a future film. But I don't know. I mean, if they don't mention her at all, I guess then they can just do what they want, can't they? I guess if there's no mention at all, then they can write her back in because they can put a bit of dialogue to mash it and say, look, she's the most intelligent life form. That's how she survived. She's robust. She's survived in Nevada, one of the harshest environments in the continent. She's now, she's adapted to survive. So that's why she survived, and we need to go and get her. Or they could just completely ignore Blue, and then you just assume that she's died in one of the extinct animals that's not here anymore, I guess.
Yeah. Until we get that supporting merch stuff that comes out online saying this is the list of extinct animals and Velociraptor is listed there with an image of Blue next to it, then that's all it needs, really. You don't need anything else. But if they don't mention it, if nothing comes up in social media or anything, then I'm not going to cry about not seeing anything to do with Blue or Beta, and I'm certainly not going to jump on my keyboard and start writing the death threats to people because they didn't mention the 2 Velociraptors from the World trilogy. But yeah, no, it should be fine. I think.
I think so too.
To just bow out for a minute. So hopefully anyone in chat will have something for you to say, mate. Just won't be a minute.
No worries. So, yes, where are we? So Chris says, 5 years into the future, domesticated raptors giving raptor rides on black monkeys came from Blue. Yeah, no, you can imagine, can't you? But the thing is, right, think about what's happened in the last 5 years. So the way Dominion leaves and finishes is that these animals are part of our world and coexisting. Raptors are an extinct species. They're highly endangered. You think Blue and Beta are the only 2. So you're relying on asexually reproducing because they're not gonna is Beta a boy or a girl? Because if it's a boy, then obviously there's incest. If it's a girl, then she could have the same asexual reproduction organs that Blue has, which enables her to reproduce like that. And if that's the case, they could create, a new family, which is what would develop the Velociraptor species again. But technically, her and Beta are the most endangered species in the world, having only two of them. So then you've got to remember, there's also, you're right, Jack. You might be able to clear that up, Jack, for me. I think that's what's written, isn't it? Aren't them two the only velocities? Is Beta a boy or a girl? I can't remember. So you've got the animals coexisting, like the horses with the Parasaurolophus and all these other animals that. So does that mean that our animals are okay and it's just the dinosaurs that are going to the equatorial regions because they're finally not, happy where they are and they're suffering? I'm really interested to know what the purpose is and what the reason is behind them slowly dying out, because I don't believe it's to do with poaching. Like, I'd like to believe that it's something to do with their like the lifetime contingency, put that into effect, and all that sort of thing. Where their bodies are just not good for living on our food as such, if you know what I mean. Like they were fed specific food on Nublar that had certain nutrients in them that was only InGen available. I think they even talk about that in the books, actually. I think Dodgson holds, not Dodgson, is it Dodgson? One of the characters in the novel, who was it? Howard? Someone holds a meeting and says, you could patent all this stuff. You can talk about, like, you can have InGen food, so only your animal can only eat that specific food, which I guess Biosyn kind of touches on in the last film, where he was trying to produce only Biosyn, so then the whole world had to rely on Biosyn products. I guess it probably was Dodgson in the book. I can't remember. You wouldn't believe I've read that for an audio book, would you? It's been such a while. So Jack's cleared up and said, I believe Beta is a female. Okay, so there is possibility that they could both asexually reproduce then. So, potentially for survival purposes, those two could survive. I mean, I wouldn't write them into this movie. I think we've overdone it with Blue and Beta. I'd quite happily never see them again. But at the same time, I mean, I'd be very pleased if they aren't in this film, because I think from what we know so far, I'm quite looking forward to seeing how they carry out this storyline, and it's so different to anything we've seen so far. So I was just discussing, Mike, about Jax came on and said he believes that Beta is a female. So I was saying how, okay, so then that's two of them could potentially continuously asexually reproduce. And Chris mentioned diet and how these animals could die out, like generally across the board, like not just these two, as in your mic's really, really loud. Have you moved pretty too close to your face?
No, I'm not done anything. I think my voice just kind of went up a bit.
Yeah, it's really loud, actually.
I don't know what's happened there.
That's all right. So diet could be one of the reasons why these animals have moved to the equator, or lack of, and their bodies just aren't eating the right foods anymore, so they're just falling ill and getting different diseases and things. That could be one of the reasons. I don't know. I think it's a good place to finish on blue and beta, because I think until we see some merch, that's not gonna answer our question, is it?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, this is the sort of question that you can have millions of answers for and thousands of scenarios, and if we're not careful, it's going to be the thing that's going to spark arguments between people, and then start dividing the fandom again. And at this stage in the game, it's like you don't want to start gatekeeping or upsetting people without meaning to or anything like that. We're all eagerly waiting a new film to come out, and it doesn't matter who's in it or what dinosaurs are in it or what dinosaur's going to get killed or not being killed by whom or whatever. We just need to get a new film out that's deserving of a new fresh lick of paint compared to what we got for Dominion, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's go to a quick break, and then when we get back, we're just going to discuss our final thoughts, and then we'll close the show out. You got any thoughts?
Oh, I've got loads of them.
So I've seen. Have you seen any of the current images flying about?
No,
okay, so there's been some set images, which I was going to discuss on another podcast. I probably will.
Mm-hmm.
That they're exploring definitely a lot more sets. There's loads of different sets, and there's a big megalodon mouth inside.
Oh, okay.
So which is really interesting.
Okay.
But I don't think that's it. I think that's just props and sets. I don't believe it's anything to do with the movie at all. I'm not gonna by any means talk about sport. Obviously it's not. I've not seen anything really. So okay. Yeah, I figured Jack might fire out then. Thanks for coming on, Jack. Give it a thumbs up before you leave. Yeah, no. So there's definitely some interesting images flying about. In fact, I probably won't go. I'll do a whole podcast on that because I don't particularly want to spoil this one and make this a spoiler chat. So if those of you are listening, I'm not going to go into more detail other than what I just said. So some decent set photos flying about, which is giving very, very original feel. Like cafes and sort of situations like that, which is always good meeting points. And I don't know, I think it's going to be interesting, how this develops, because I think we're just as a fan base, we're going to be desperate for some sort of teaser trailer soon, aren't we? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But have you got any other final thoughts before we leave?
No, not really. I mean, everything we've discussed so far is pretty much, it's my honest opinion on everything. I'm not anticipating anything trailer-wise until probably either very tail end of this year, which I doubt, or January, February next year now for a teaser trailer of any kind. I've not seen anything updates for Camp Cretaceous season 3 yet, so I'm not sure if we're going to be due out a new season of that before the end of this year or the start of next year. But apart from that, all my final thoughts on this are I'm looking forward to seeing what we're getting with it.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to anything that we get now. I just want something. Definitely want a teaser. Just want them to give us something to go off of, like, because I don't think anyone outside of the fan base really knows there's another movie coming. Like, I couldn't really tell you anybody that's remotely, like, I think they're on the Chaos Theory bandwagon, if anything, rather than than there's any movie, because all of the merch at the moment in the shops, especially Smith's for Christmas, is all Chaos Theory related. None of it is Jurassic World Rebirth related. So I do think we need something soon. And
Yeah.
So the next, we've discussed this last time. I think we were talking about like when Super Bowl is and stuff. I'm wondering if we're going to get a Christmas. When's Thanksgiving? That's got to be soon. What's that been?
Thanksgiving's been and gone.
Okay, so there's nothing going to be then. So there's nothing then, was there? So
No.
I guess Christmas. Any Christmas movies that they could possibly attach a trailer to? Or we're gonna be looking at things. I feel like they need to do something. Like there seems to be no version of this movie. There's no marketing at all for this film.
I can't think of any Universal films that are due out that would be the appropriate sort of film to tag that trailer onto. So it might be next year. We might be getting something then.
Yeah, no, I think it's usually the Super Bowl, isn't it? Like we're always guaranteed a trailer.
Yeah. Super Bowl is kind of like the big guns for trailer reveals. Even if it's a teaser, that's usually the best place to get the hype going. So I would imagine that's probably February, March time when the Super Bowl comes out.
Yeah, I think it's. Let me have a check. Actually, let's have a look quickly.
I want to say tail end of February.
What date is Super Bowl 25? February the 9th.
Okay, yeah. So tail end of February.
No, actually, that's so soon.
Yeah,
like February the 9th. That's less than a. Yeah, that's exactly what 2 months away.
Yeah, I mean we're the 12th today, so yeah, it's not far off. 2 months.
That's going to fly by.
Yeah.
Absolutely fly by. What's mad is I'm going to Florida next May, end of May.
Yeah.
And I've got so much to look forward to next year now. Trailers.
Yeah.
Florida.
Posters. Toys.
yeah. And then the movie coming out in July. I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. So going forward, guys, I don't know what we're going to discuss next on the next podcast. There's probably going to be some more things that are coming out. I definitely would like to talk about. I know we did discuss about what was the other thing we was chatting about the other day, Mike. That I said that I'd like to chat about. We haven't got onto it yet.
I know. Chaos Theory season 3 came up at one point, but I don't know when
that's got to be due out again. No, it's normally.
I want to say
May, isn't it?
This year.
They're normally like 6 months apart. Usually, they're usually 6 months apart. But then I don't know. It'd be interesting to know how that links in with Dominion. Actually, I can't remember. We've got some other things that we'd like to discuss.
Yeah,
but we're not sure what about just yet, so we'll get back to you soon on that one.
As soon as something drops, I'm sure we'll be jumping
definitely.
on it as quickly as we can. Yeah.
I know Matt wants to come on soon, and I'd like to actually. You know what? I'd like to talk about the possibility of. And we're going to leave the podcast here. The possibility of human dinosaur clone hybrids, right?
Okay.
And how you would feel about those in a film. So we're going to leave it there. Something to dwindle on. Maybe even leave a comment on what you think. In fact, if you're still here, brilliant. If you're still here, comment on anything now. Chris has put in the chat, no, right? I don't want it, but let's just think about it for a second. There could be something. Let's save it for another conversation, definitely. Have a think about anything we've discussed today. Please leave in the comment section below, and I guess we'll see you again another time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you're new and you are subscribed. That'd be great. And only one thing left to say, Mike.
Yeah,
life
will find a way.
Bye bye.